And I went along for the interview and a couple of times and got the job. And I started on the trading floor when I was just 16. It was mental because there was like about 300, 400 people down there, about 2 women, me being one of them. Back and said I was going to leave. And they were like, yeah, okay, well, where are you going? As in like, you know, another bank. I was like, no, I'm going to go and start a snack business.
Because how many views did it, like, in total, like, engagement and stuff did it actually get?
Over all platforms is on about 32 million.
That's mad. It's 32 million eyeballs on your packaging. So in the early days, what was your, like, first big listing?
First listing was Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Literally, and I kissed the buyer. I think, well, for me, definitely some of the big challenges was I didn't understand anything about the category. So I didn't understand what a pallet was, an SRP was. So I didn't understand pallet configurations, the logistic costs. I didn't understand all this. So that in itself was huge. And I was on like the biggest learning curve of all time.
Before we get into today's episode, I want to give a shout out to a special sponsor, Sam Lawrence Recruitment. We all know that finding the right people or the right job can feel really overwhelming, and that's exactly where Sam comes in. He really just gets it. It's not just about ticking boxes, it's about connecting the right people with the right opportunities. He takes the time to understand you and exactly what you're looking for, whether you're building a team or taking that next career leap. So definitely get in touch. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. At Getting to Grow, I believe that growth starts with connection. And that's where our sponsor, We Are All Marketing, comes in. I'm super excited to be partnering with Vic and the team over at We Are All Marketing. They're not just a marketing agency, they're storytellers, strategists, and your biggest advocates. Whether you're building a brand, launching a product, or strengthening your digital presence, We Are All Marketing helps you turn ideas into impact. With a personalised, results-driven approach, they ensure your vision reaches the right audience in the right way. Ready to grow your business? Visit weareallmarketing.com and see how they can help you thrive. Getting to Grow is also brought to you by the Coconut Collab. And full disclosure, as I'm sure most of you are aware, I work there, so I know how much love goes into everything that we make. We're all about creating delicious, dairy-free, plant-based treats that do not compromise on taste. From our creamy yogurts to our indulgent desserts, everything's made with coconuts and a whole lot of care. If you're looking for something naturally good but seriously tasty, and my favourite is just our natural coconut yogurt, I have it most mornings with granola and lots of honey. Trust me, you're going to absolutely love it. Hello. Hi, Cathy.
Zoe.
Welcome to Getting to Grow.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you so much for coming all the way up from Bath as well. That's so kind.
Oh, no, it's lovely. Love a little trip on the train.
Yeah. Do you know what? I actually like a trip on the train as well, where you can just, like, you're in your own head. You can just, like, get your notes done, sit there.
Especially, like, when it's first thing in the morning, because, like, at the moment, on a Friday, it's Friday today.
Yeah.
Not many people get on the train.
True,
Sort of thing,
it's quite nice and quiet.
It's actually really quiet, sort of thing. I got like the 7:30 train, and yeah, it was bloody lovely.
Perfect.
Sunny and all that stuff.
Yeah, what a gorgeous day as well.
Yeah, I know.
Excited to get out on that later. So, Cathy, welcome to the show. You are the founder of Boundless, the gut-happy snack, and I can't wait to get into everything about you and what you were doing before and how it led to this. So, talk to me a bit about you when you were younger. Were you kind of always entrepreneurial?
I don't know really. I think when I was younger, I grew up in the East End of London, grew up in Bethnal Green. So I think we were kind of entrepreneurial in a sense because we didn't really have a lot. So you kind of like always had to like make sure you can make ends meet and kind of be alternative thinking. And I think entrepreneurship is about alternative thinking. It's about not feeling too scared about something that lands in your lap. Kind of like to be able to like push forward and take a leap. So I think so maybe a little bit entrepreneurial. I think I've always had something to say. So probably should have always worked for myself. Okay. And that kind of stuff, even though it isn't how I started out. Do you know what I mean? That isn't, I didn't really start out working for myself, but I love it now that I do.
Yeah. So what were you like when you were younger? What were you doing? Where did you go to school, and then kind of how did it lead on to the university, or did you study?
So I didn't go uni. I left school at 16. Mm-hmm. But I did my GCSEs and I did my maths and English a year early, so I did like half an AS at the time, sort of thing. And I went, and there used to be like the Evening Standard. Yeah. So the Evening Standard used to come out like twice a day. It used to come out at lunchtime and it used to come out in the evening. Hence the Evening Standard probably. Anyway, but at lunchtime I used to like put jobs in there. And in there was a job in the city, because I kind of thought like I always wanted to work in the city, because I was really good with numbers and stuff, and I just thought, and I saw it was like not far from where I lived, and I just thought it'd be really, anyway, there was a job in the advert that said like come and be a clerk on the LME, which worked out to be the London Metal Exchange, but I didn't even know what that meant. And I went along for the interview and a couple of times, and got the job, and I started on the trading floor when I was just 16.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of 17 sort of thing. So yeah, it was mental, because there was like about 400 people down there, about 2 women, me being one of them. So yeah, it was kind of like you pretty much stood out kind of stuff. But I just remember it going down there, like remembering like it was absolutely crazy. Like people shouting at each other, pulling each other, kind of like it's mental. And I just thought, oh yeah, I love a bit of that.
Yeah, a bit rough and ready.
Yeah, it sounds good. For me, I just felt like it's like being down a market stall.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Do you know what I mean? If you're selling apples or pears, or if you were like trading stocks or metals, as it was, I didn't think it could be that much different. But
obviously, like, that came from within you, because a lot of people wouldn't be able to handle that, or like go into an environment where it is quite heavily male dominated, and then stuff's thrown at you. So were your parents quite entrepreneurial, and were they kind of like take no shit basically?
Yeah, take no shit. Do you know what I mean? Definitely. Like my dad's an accountant, my mum worked for Unilever, but they were very. It was very. I think like I had this like real upbringing of like this fight to survive sort of thing, and therefore you've got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Kind of like you've got to push back, you know, and that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. I mean, I was really lucky. Like I got to go to a grammar school, and that really helped me out of where the situation I came in, because like the local comp was like pretty tough, and so I was lucky that I got to go to a grammar school. And I think going to a grammar school for me, but this is obviously back in the 80s, like going to grammar school for me was a real opportunity in terms of the fact that they that attitude that you could do anything, do you know what I mean, that kind of stuff, and that was really pushed into me. But like my parents were very much take no shit,
sets you up well,
and I kind of always felt like quite confident. Like my mum said I went to school with a soapbox, like I always had something to say. Do you know what I mean?
I like that.
Always at school reports, Cathy could do so well if she just shut up.
Do you know, I had such a similar experience. I was always like too distracting at school, and I remember now thinking I was meant to be distracting. Like I've got a podcast. Like, I'm supposed to be getting people's attention.
Entrepreneurial, right? Do you know what I mean? Because you are distracted. Your mind is something else. Your mind is racing. You're thinking like, you can sit on the loo and you could be thinking about 1,000 things. And I think is the entrepreneurial spirit. And I think sometimes like we go through this. Well, certainly when I went to school, you go through like an education that's kind of quite like formulaic, and I don't necessarily think that it actually breeds like that kind of entrepreneurial spirit or encourages it as much as it should do, because I realise obviously you need this formula that people have got to pass XYZ exam, but entrepreneurial, you don't.
It's different.
You don't think that way.
No, you're
definitely kind of like thinking like, well, just because you say I've got to do A to B, do you know what I mean? Why can't I get to Z in a different way? Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I think there's something wrong potentially with like the schooling system and how they do put kids in such like. I guess they have to cast the net wide. I understand, but like I wasn't very academic. I mean, I wasn't like non-academic, but I wouldn't say I was in the top sets at all. Yeah. But actually, like that wasn't my strength. Like I was fantastic at drama. Like I A-stars dramas every time, and then science like complete C's. But that was deemed bad. Yeah, but drama getting an A was like okay, but because it was a drama, it was a bit like
it's almost like okay, drama's like well, what does that mean?
Literally, and I was like, well, actually,
that means so much. Exactly what it's got. Exactly.
Thank you.
But I mean, for me, therefore, drama would be about the fact that you can communicate, you can read people.
You got people skills.
Do you know what I mean? People, and that is absolutely one of the most fantastic skills to have. Do you know what I mean? To understand the room. Yeah. To read the room. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I agree. I think we do lay a lot of stuff sitting on like academia, and I think with AI now, it will be interesting to see how much academia that future we rely on.
Absolutely. It's really interesting to see
it can do it for you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It is really interesting to see where it's all going to leave us, AI. It's a funny world. I'm interested to see it unfold. But where were you then when you had the idea for Boundless? Was it a light bulb?
Yeah, it was. I suppose. Well, it was a bit of a light bulb moment, but I suppose it'd been coming on for a while. Instead, so I was working in the city. I'd worked in the city for like 25 years at that stage, and I basically sat on my butt all day long. But I was really quite conscious about what I was trying to eat. But you never seemed to eat anything that kind of like was fueling me, just kind of like fueling me in terms of getting me through, but not actually do anything better. And I really did start to feel quite unwell, like brain foggy and stuff like that. And I just thought there must be a better way of like snacking, because I snacked a lot, because you're just sitting at a desk like 14 hours, you're like, oh. And I thought there must be a better way, and started to kind of look into kind of your overall well-being. And I went on holiday to Australia, and was in Australia, and they just seemed so much more aligned to gut, and kind of like how it was like better for your brain, how you worked, all this sort of stuff. And I kind of then thought, okay, well, what about like snacking that was like gut related, you know, kind of that sort of stuff. And I suddenly thought, I'm going to do this. I hated my job by the end of it. I really fucking hated it.
Yeah, you're ready to go.
Yeah, I was like soul destroying, kind of like, yeah, just like didn't align with my values or principles at any stage. Probably didn't align with it from get-go, do you know what I mean? But, you know, I was lucky, it done me well and all this sort of stuff. And I just thought, I came back and I said, because I was like senior director, I was head of trading at the time. And
big role.
Yeah, it was a big role. Do you know what I mean? Worked with a load of idiots. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, a lot of testosterone.
A lot of testosterone
in the room. And I came back and said I was going to leave. And they were like, yeah, okay, well, where are you going? As in like, you know, another bank. I was like, no, I'm going to go and start a snack business. They literally thought I'd had a lobotomy. Do you know what I mean? Like, what? Do you know what I mean? What?
Yeah, literally, like, could not fathom it.
You're going to leave, this amazing role, money, job, what? I was like, yeah. And I'll never forget, like, leaving, and I got in a cab to go home. I don't even know why I thought I'd get in the cab, right? Because clearly I should have been thinking, like, I've got no money anymore. Do you know what I mean? I got in a cab. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I could have easily walked. I got in a cab and I met this cabbie. And he was going, all right, love, you know, you're off early. I went, yeah, I've like resigned.
It's like when they leave The Apprentice and they get in the taxi.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot about that. It was right. And he said, he goes, like, you know, you're off early. I was like, yeah, I've resigned. He goes, yeah, where are you going then, love? I went, I'm leaving sea. He went, nah, you've got to do it somewhere. I went, no, I'm going to run a stacking business.
Oh my
God. And at that point, I didn't know like what it was called, how it was going to be formatted. I didn't know anything. I just knew that I was going to try and change what it meant to snack. And I just felt like everything out there was like, was like really unhealthy for you, but really boring or really worthy. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that there was actually nothing that was actually fulfilling function with taste. And I just thought, yeah, I'm gonna give it a whirl. I hadn't even like really made it in my kitchen yet, or even found a manufacturer or anything.
And you didn't know it was going to be crisps and nuts and seeds.
No.
You didn't like. You just knew it was a snack.
Yeah, I started with the nuts and seeds. Because I made them in my kitchen. And that's where I kind of came up with like, I feel like the chef off of the Muppets, like
yeah,
all this sort of stuff. And I made those. So the nuts and seeds were natural because in the sense that it was naturally easy for me to do it in my kitchen. Whereas obviously the crisps, chips were going to be like way hard. And that came like further in my mind when we were in lockdown.
Yeah,
like crisps and chips. But yeah, and then like tried to find a manufacturer. It took bloody ages.
Really?
Yeah, because no one wants to bet on you. Right?
A lot of the founders that come on the podcast say it's really hard. And they want the cash up front, and that's the one thing you can't do.
Do you know what I mean? Or they want volume. They want you to set like a certain amount of volume you're going to do with them. Well, okay, well, we've got to make a minimum of like 25,000 bags. Well, oh my God, I haven't even sold one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I've got a shelf life.
Yeah.
I've got, that sort of stuff. So it's really hard to find a manufacturer. And I find it a lot with other like founders from startups going, certainly in F&B. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like, okay, well, how did you find your manufacturer? That sort of stuff. And I think the bottom line is sometimes, obviously, it's lots of hard work. I'm not going to lie. Do you know what I mean? To like put everything and set it up. But there is a bit of like fucking luck. Do you know what
massive,
I mean? Like
yeah.
stars align, you know, and you just think like, okay, and I had a little bit of luck to find mine, to be honest with you.
Yeah, amazing. So what makes Boundless?
What makes us boundless? Well, do you know what I mean? Obviously I'm a little bit nuts myself.
I like that.
This energy, do you know what I mean? But no, okay, for us, our USP is that we deliver taste with function. We are all about looking after your gut. So we're on a mission to get the nation gut happy. We're talking about like good mood food. You know, for us, it's about empowering better choices in snacking. We're not here to preach to you. Do you know what I mean? We're not here to teach you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, you should be living your life in this way. It's not. We're a snack. It's about enjoyment. It's about having fun.
Yeah.
But it's about delivering function. And for me, it's all about gut. Yes, of course, we have to deliver taste. So that's our number one driver. But without having function, there isn't anything anymore. Do you know what I mean? So for us, that's what we're here to do.
And how do you put the functionality in the product?
So for us, in terms of fats, it's about sprouting and activating our grains. So that's a kind of really ancient tribal method, really big in Australia. Hence where I kind of like got inspiration from, and obviously the States, but originally kind of like Aztec Incas. So in terms of our nuts and seeds, we activate, so they are like soaked in kind of like a salt water to draw out phytic acid, which is where here comes the science.
Okay, fab, we love it.
So draws out phytic acids, which is a anti-nutrient, which binds the good nutrients in your gut. So by drawing that out, it allows kind of those nutrients to work be much more bioavailable to your gut, and for your gut to be able to absorb them. And then with our chips, we sprout our grain. So that kind of kickstarts Mother's Nature, and that allows your gut to absorb the fibre way, way quicker than it would do if you didn't have a sprouted grain. Because in actual fact, your body can't actually absorb can't actually absorb fibre. What it does is it needs your microbiome to actually work on an active way in order to absorb the fibre. So what we do is we allow that fibre to be much more bioavailable to your gut, so therefore it can absorb into your microbiome far quicker.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Because gut health is everywhere at the moment. Like, it's kind of like gone on a massive way, especially since like the rise of Zoe, obviously, Tim Spector, like in talking about gut health. So these are basically what people need to be having at their desk.
Absolutely, because if you've got a gut, you should need to look after it.
Well, most of us do, I think.
Exactly. And
you can't live without one, can you?
No. I mean,
it's not like a liver where you can have it. No,
exactly. It doesn't regrow itself. Right. Do you know what I mean? Or you can get out with one kidney. Do you know what I mean? Not that I'm advocating for one kidney in any shape or form. But you can't. But the bottom line is our gut is our second brain.
Yeah.
And without our gut, our brain doesn't function. Our whole body doesn't function in that way. It is absolutely fundamental to who we are. I mean, you are born with your microbiome. You know, it's in your DNA. And the point is we start to manipulate our microbiome the minute we start to breathe. Do you know what I mean? And the minute we start to take in any kind of food or, you know, breast milk, powdered milk, whatever it may be. Do you know, and we are already playing with our microbiome. And it is fundamental that we look after ourselves in that way, because, you know, all your serotonin, 90% of your serotonin sits in your gut. That makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It makes you feel happy.
Yeah.
That makes you so linked, your gut, to your mental health.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Your energy levels are so, you know, it's why when you eat crap food, you feel sluggish.
Yeah, so
you
sluggish.
Feel that because it's kind of like everyone used to think, oh, it's because I've just taken on too much carb, or I've kind of like it's refined sugar or anything. It's because your microbiome then goes and it can't digest it, and then it can't give you all those great, amazing nutrients that we need in order to get ourselves up and go. So yeah, I mean, for me, like I say, they talk about it being our second brain. I'm sure within the next few years you're going to find it's very much like it's the focus. In actual fact, it'll be much more, do you know what I mean, investigated and go, because they're learning so much every single day about your gut, that you'll find that with your gut will be the primary organ that
definitely
we have, you know, and it's fundamental. It's so important. I mean, literally, in the UK, we don't eat enough fibre. It's unbelievable, and we need to be eating more fibre. And I think probably what we've got at the moment, the biggest relatable factor in terms of gut is people linking fibre to gut. And I think for me, that's great. If you just want to know about fibre and you think you need to up your fibre just to make your gut better, then that is a major start, and it really is going to change our overall well-being in this country.
It's so interesting because you've seen like the likes of so many gut fibre drinks pop up now, and it is confusing out there because it's like I eat a relatively balanced, quite healthy diet, so I get all my veggies in. The one thing I don't eat is I hate fruit. So I don't eat fruit.
Well, we all have a nemesis.
It's
right?
weird. Everyone I meet's like, what?
And you've got to be in your real world.
Yeah.
You can't be fake.
Fruit's
right?
just not for me. I can't get on board with it. I don't mind a blueberry on my porridge. I can sort of stomach
Just
that.
one?
Just, 2 at a push. But other than that, I'm not interested in fruit. But fibre...
Would you drink a smoothie?
Peanut butter, dates, chocolate protein powder any day. A green one or like strawberries and bits.
Oh, I'm over everything green. It's getting on my nerves.
I never
now.
liked it. Never was into it. And also like Pimm's in the summer. I know everyone's like, how do you not like Pimm's? But I don't because it's got floating fruit.
Well...
So like get all the fruit
better.
out. Tequila. I'll be just in the corner like straight tequila. Absolutely. That's probably not good fruit. Yeah, exactly. It's Friday.
Exactly.
Start early. But with the rise of all these kind of like drinks and other kind of, I guess, loads of brands within the space, have you seen the competition like really step on in the last probably 18 months or a year?
Yeah, okay. I think, so for me, the more brands that talk about gut and deliver gut, the better. Because gut isn't a fad. This is a major, kind of attitude change. So there are going to be more people selling gut products, and I actually champion that because I really do believe in gut. So I don't want to be the only one, because that's not really going to change people's kind of like overall well-being. So for me, I think it's great. I think there is like anything, there is the fact that obviously just jumping on the bandwagon does slightly worry me.
Yeah.
Because are people just bringing... I mean, there's a big brand at the moment that have brought out a kombucha, not naming any names. Love kombucha, obviously. Big brand. And in it, yes, I saw it the other day. And they're going to have loads of money, obviously. They're going to push kombucha, which is great.
Boost the category.
Brilliant. But until I see that at the back of their packaging, they've got maltodextrin. And maltodextrin is an absolute terrible gut inhibitor. It's awful for the gut. So you're making a gut product that actually is completely juxtaposition to itself with the fact that she's maltodextrin. So I think there is a little bit of that that's a worry, but ultimately I think it's great. I think it's great space, and like I'm loving all the prebiotic sodas that are coming out, like Living Things. I absolutely love their brand. I love their product.
Yeah.
Hip Hop.
Yeah.
I love them. Fixate, Five,
Yeah.
All of these guys. I love all those. So what I can see in terms of where we are in functionality and category, if we look at drinks, it's really accelerating.
Yeah.
And if you look in terms of dairy, so you're looking in the likes of kefir and yogurts, again, really accelerating. What's been slower has been snacking. And I think that's several reasons why. I mean, obviously you've got the Gut Stuff bars, which I love those guys. The Gut Stuff, I love those girls. They're brilliant. I think snacking has been slightly slower, and I think that's because snacking has gone through this kind of like low fat, low sugar kind of period, and a little bit of protein kind of thing. And now that's kind of come to its end, because low fat, low sugar. I mean, what does that mean? Less salt. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Less than what? And protein's a little bit overdone in terms of the snacking area.
So much in protein, isn't it? And actually, you're right. Like we were just having this conversation earlier, but there's a lot of stuff in protein that's not very good for you. Like protein bars are full of crap.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
other than the natural ones that are out there now.
But when Mars Bar sell you a protein bar, it's like over. It's like my nan getting into Bitcoin. Do you know what I mean? It's over. Do you know what I mean? The Daily Mirror told her it's a good idea to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done.
It's
over. So, I think, I mean, like I said about green stuff, I'm over matcha and pistachio.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of green out there at the moment.
Lot of green. But so I champion any other brands getting into gut health, because in the end, it just changes, it accelerates the movement.
Yeah, of course. And in the early days when you were kind of finding your manufacturing and you said you had a bit of luck, what were some like really big challenges you had to overcome, especially for someone that didn't have their own business before? Yeah,
I think, well, for me, definitely some of the big challenges was I didn't understand anything about the category. So I didn't understand what a pallet was, an SRP was. So I didn't understand pallet configurations, the logistic costs. I didn't understand all this. So that in itself was huge. And I was on like the biggest learning curve of all time. So, again, like I said, finding a manufacturer, understanding what that is, understanding the levy of cogs that go in at your cost of goods, that go to, you just think, well, I'll make it and I'll sell it. And I don't think I was financially unsavvy, given the fact where I came from. But I think, when you're changing kind of direction, you're getting into a different field, I think there's a whole mindful of stuff. I think there's also the fact of understanding how long it takes you to actually get on shelf. You just think, well, I'll just go to a trade show and I'll sell it and I'll be on shelf next week. These are stores I want to be in. I want to be in Whole Foods, I want to be on Ocado. That'll only take a little while. So I think it's a reality check. And I think it's a reality check about how much it's going to cost you.
Was that tough at the start? Was it all personally funded?
Yeah, I personally funded it at the start. And I was lucky in the sense, like I said, because I'd worked in the city, do you know what I mean? And I had a good job in terms of financially. So I was able to fund it, but it was way more expensive than I thought it was going to be. It took way longer than I thought it was
like building a house from scratch.
I always feel like Oatly always said, like that 10-year overnight success.
Yeah.
And, and certainly for me, when I started and I was talking about gut health 7 years ago, they thought I was crackers. I mean, gut health snacking, what? Oh my God, disgusting.
Yeah.
So I was kind of up against it about that. But I think some of the things I learned that I was like like those challenges of not really understanding, the category at all, do you know what I mean? Those financial stuff was that I really got on board with people that did know that. And I went down the route of, come and join me, I can't pay you, but I'll give you some shares. And, and selling your story, selling the journey, selling the belief, selling the vision is so important because no one is going to speak up for you or your brand like you are, because you are the dream. Do you know what I mean? You've got it all in your head. Do you know what I mean? And you can make people come along to that. The energy and the vision that you have is inspiring to other people. Well, it should be, because I tell you what, if it isn't, you shouldn't be doing it. And if it's not inspiring, you're going to find it really hard to get some investment.
I was going to say, the minute you stop loving what you're doing, it's like game over, because you have to be so passionate, because it is long hours. You're up against so many people saying, no, this is never going to work. And all this stuff that, if you aren't like the number one. And actually, it was interesting. I spoke to Josh, the founder of Cano Water, this week. Yeah. And he was saying, such a good guy. I mean, what a story. Wow. Amazing. And he said, like, nobody gives a shit about your business other than you. Yeah. And it is true when you think about, like, the crux of it. Like, you are...
Well, you are what everybody else feeds off, and it's also the reality check of the fact that, there's 60,000 SKUs sitting in a supermarket and you've got to convince them to take yours.
Yeah.
I mean, if I look at our category, do you know what I mean, in terms of snacking, 47% of it's owned by PepsiCo, which is like Walkers and everything else. I mean, like, and you've got to go up against them.
Yeah.
And if not, it's Unilever or Intersnack and stuff like that. But I think, like, determination, and I think what's really important with all of that is you've got to have a USP.
Yeah.
Right? There's no point convincing yourself that you've got a USP because you've just copied somebody else's idea. You've got to have a real USP.
Yeah, you need to be an innovator.
Yeah, you've got to be innovative. Innovation or die. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's really important is to innovate, not just because you think you need to, just to create in sake. You've got to make sure your innovation is, and what you're creating is needed. You can't make people need what you've got. You can make their life simpler by delivering what you've got. So they didn't realise they needed it, but they were waiting for it.
Yeah.
Sure, but it's really hard to kind of like convince someone they need something if you can't say it in 3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, make it simple.
Yeah, make people totally simple, like understand what you're selling, and like also like find a little bit of that whole kind of like find the problem and sell them the solution thing. But it's more than that. It's like you really have to genuinely believe it's going to as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because why start something if you don't believe in it?
Absolutely.
Like I said, like for me, I believed in gut health. I felt the way I did. I felt sluggish and everything else, and I sat in an office and I knew what that felt like.
Yeah.
So, and I was a massive snacker. I was really solving my problem.
Yeah.
really, with the view that I thought that could
help
be
others.
bigger, be bigger. But yeah, there's no point trying to like sell to anybody if you're not trying to sell to yourself. And you know, you've got to if you've got to go in there on a dragon's den and talk about it. You know, people buy people, and people buy.
Oh, that's my favourite sentence ever.
Well, they do, don't they? Right? Okay. And the thing is, people do buy why you do something. Do you know what I mean? Not what you do. So the what comes after, they buy why you're doing it. Do you know what I mean? You know, and that is really important.
Yeah.
You know, and you see people at trade shows and stuff like that. I see people at trade shows and I think, so get from behind that stand, get out, jump a bit. I have been known to rugby tackle buyers.
Which one? Go on. Which or which like brand? Which like kind of...
Yeah, the guy from actually years ago is the guy from Virgin Atlantic.
Yeah.
Right, and he walked past and I didn't see him. He was so busy, I didn't see him. And somebody opposite me go, "Oh, Cathy, that's like the guy. That's the buyer from Virgin." I literally started stampeding, like running down the aisle, literally almost like was airborne, trying to take it down like it was serious rugby tackle, and like he's so shocked. And he's like, "I mean, you're right. You just stop. Just absolutely stop. You have just missed the best snack ever." And I got him to come back to the stand. I didn't get him to take the snack, but I got him to come back to the stand. And that's the point. You've got to be, because all you're ever going to hear is no for a very long time. So you've got to get armadillo. You've got to be really hard on the outside, you know.
So resilient. Also, like you cannot care what people think. Like you absolutely have to just go for it and go, right, I'm going to get it. The stuff that we've done. I mean, Coconut Club, obviously, as you know, is my day job, and like the stuff we've done,
I love your products, by the way.
It's so good, right? I love it too. I literally have a pot a day. But the stuff we've done, I'm like, we're nuts. We are bat shit when it comes to getting people's attention. But we're up against so many people out there, and you know, dairy's a gigantic category. It's like a commodity that we've kind of entered. So it is genuinely like, how do we set ourselves apart? So yeah, you're right. It is like, it's very interesting and like it's really good fun at the same time. Yeah,
and I think that's really key. You've got to make it fun.
There's no point.
Because, like you say, you're going to take a load of knockbacks. And if you're the sort of person that's going to feel like, oh, I don't know if I should be doing this kind of thing, then you're not on the right trajectory. You've got to believe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you've got to be able to take those no's and think, well, it's fine. And we have the big saying at Boundless, it's not no, it's when.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? You know...
Yeah.
It's just yes at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And no, do you know what? That's fine for now, but it won't be soon.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll need me.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll wait. It's okay.
Outside your door, in a canvas, in a little stalkery way.
I've done, yeah.
The LinkedIn stalking.
It's a whole that.
Oh my God, yeah, we've done some crazy.
But it does work. You do find out who's in charge of what, and like, it's terrifying what you can find out online, especially now with AI.
I hate LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I find it like the most stressful inducing app of all time.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, where has it? Like, it's always been there, but it has like been there so much recently. And,
oh my God!
You can't
it's like
get
the dial's been turned up volume. I mean, I think it's very different to when LinkedIn first started. Now it's very quite, I call it quite personal. You know?
People put their engagements on it and they've had a baby, which I personally wouldn't do. Like my personal life is, you follow me on my private Instagram, that's okay.
Yeah, me too.
I live a lot of my life with the podcast and my day job online anyway.
It's enough exposure, right? No. I mean, mine very much, if I want to tell you I'm going on holiday, I'll tell you as my friend. I don't need to post it.
Yeah.
But I realise we live in this kind of like, but I feel like it's kind of changed, but I find it really stressful because like, I feel like you've got to be on it and in it all the time, when I feel like I actually have way better things to do in terms of like for the business. I've got more to do. Yet it is like this kind of sounding platform, but I find it stressful inducing because it's like the biggest FOMO creator of all time in terms of like, why aren't we selling in there?
I know. I know. And it makes you think that every brand is so amazing and they're like getting listings left, right and centre.
Yeah, and most of the time I just read it and I'm just going to think like, wanker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Have I got in there?
Yeah, I feel like that. It is like cortisol rising.
And then you're kind of like going, oh, well done.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Give me the name of the buyer.
Exactly. Oh,
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So agree. So in the early days, what was your like biggest, your first big listing?
First listing was Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Literally, and I kissed the buyer. When
Was
she
it
said...
Alex?
Oh, God, it might have been Alex. Alex? Can't remember. It might have been Alex. This is back in 2018.
Yeah, it would have been Alex.
Yeah.
Bless her, she had the whole category.
I kissed her.
Yeah.
I was just like...
Sorry, not the whole category, the whole store.
Did
she was in charge of every single product in Whole Foods. Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God.
You kissed her. I love that.
I was like, oh, please.
Shout out to Alex. She's great,
She's
actually.
awesome person. Yeah, wonderful. And that was like just epic, because that was like my dream. Do you know what I mean? To get into Whole Foods. So yeah, and soon realised that you had to work really hard to stay into Whole Foods, sort of thing. So yeah, that was like my first listing, and that it was all fun. And I remember like taking my mum into Whole Foods store, because we were up in town, and I was taking I sound really East End then, up in town, and I said to my mum, come and see this. And she was like, what we doing in here? Do you know what I mean? She said, it cost a bloody fortune.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like, yeah, come on, let's go in. And I was like, look. She went, oh my God, that's your company. I was like, I know, Mum. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, yeah, it was all awesome moment. I tell you what, I mean, in terms of like for me, and I'm bet any founder in F&B, the most amazing thing is to see your product on shelf. And it doesn't have to be Whole Foods. It could be your local farm shop. It could be wherever. Do you know what I mean? It could be Tesco's, whatever it may be.
Just getting it on shelf.
It's awesome. It's the most amazing thing. That's like, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like your baby in the wild.
Bloody awesome. Yeah.
And how was the process of like Whole Foods and getting the listing? How did you find Alex?
I met her at trade show.
Okay.
So when I launched Boundless, I went to Speciality Fine Food Trade Show. Didn't have a listing, didn't have a distributor, didn't actually really understand it that much. Got myself a stand, made in the startup zone, which is the cheapest thing to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got to look for anything you can do really cheaply. Made a bit of a stand out of some wood decking from B&Q, which looked great, but absolutely weighed a ton, and I realised that was not very practical.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, had to do that, and went for it. And met her there, and I couldn't believe it. And it was just, euphoric moment.
And trade shows are fantastic, aren't they, at the start? Because they do. Also, even if you don't meet a buyer, which would be so sad because you've had that money to be there,
sure.
but the people that try your products and feedback you get in such a confined space, like you need that person, you need that connection with the customer.
Especially in startup, because you can get the startup zone and you can get way cheaper, and obviously you can negotiate and stuff like that. But the bottom line is, it is the way to get out there in front of so many people so quickly. But you've got to be alive on that stand.
Yeah.
You've got to be literally hounding people and really making your product stand out.
Yeah.
But I'd really recommend going to a trade show for sure.
Yeah.
Starting.
And team. So team comes up a lot on my podcast. People really find it hard to recruit and have basically really good people stay in the business. So we have someone in the scenes behind us here, Will, who's come to watch the pod today.
He's unbelievable.
So I'm going to come back and ask a question, because I do see this being scanned and getting on trains and going through things.
When we went by.
And I want to ask about that, even though we know that marketing, so you might have to get yourself on the sofa in a minute. But before that, team, I want to touch base on, because how have you gone out and made sure that you have the most successful team around you? Because you are so personable, you're so outgoing. I can see you in front of them, the sales, you must just smash those meetings, because how can you not love you?
Oh.
But how do you get people that aren't maybe you need people that are amazing at supply chain that you might not be as good at, because you need that. So how have you managed to...
Right? You need good people in all areas. So for me, team is everything. And we talk a lot about this at Boundless. For me, we are a family at Boundless. We are all in this together. So we ride the highs together, we ride the lows together. We support each other 100%. And I always talk about that very much so, that we are a family, and we very much act and respect each other in the way of being a family. So that in itself creates a way of working. And that in itself, I think, makes it clear about, for two reasons for me, what I look for in somebody when we employ someone is, one, can you do the job? So have you got the CV that facilitates that area that we need, or whatever it is? Okay, and two, do you fit with family? do you fit within this team? Because if you do your job great, but you don't fit with the team, well, you can't stay. Do you know what I mean? And if you do great with team, but you can't do the job, well, then you also can't stay, because you're not going to stay long, well respected in the team if you can't do your job. Because as you all know, in a startup or an SME, you can't hide.
No.
You can either do it or you can't. It's going to be pretty exposed pretty quickly if you can't. So in terms of how I look for somebody, I think it's very much depends in terms of what the sector there is. So like, Anne Harrod we have, who works with us in operations. She's our operations manager, right? She is the most calmest person you've ever met. I mean, she's the proper swan.
Okay.
She's on it. She's literally like an underneath the plane, because operations in a startup SME is about as smooth as the Himalayas, right? Okay, it's like all over. It goes tits up every other moment, right? It is all over the place. So obviously she's got the credentials and had the background, but her, just how she came across, that she's very, very calming, and we need somebody in that position. So, and obviously fits with team. I am very not calm. I am like all over the place.
Okay.
I am literally like, bang, bangs, trying to swap it down. Do you know what I mean? I'm like up here 1 second, I'm down here the next. Well, I don't stay down there.
Yeah.
I'm very kind of like up here sort of thing. And I'm like, right, we've had a meeting with so-and-so. Right, we're in there then. And they're like, well, Cathy might say, no, so we're getting in there. So I think you need yin and yang in the team. And I think it's really important to know your strengths and your weaknesses, to know what is going to be needed within the team also. So obviously we've used recruiters of stuff before, but at this point we've kind of really gone down the fact that people want to work at Boundless, which has been really great, and stuff like that. But I think team culture is everything. And for me, if you don't have that solidarity, if you don't have that respect, if you're not authentic, if you're not living by your core values, loyalty, all of these things, then you won't develop a team that will run as we've got each other's back. We talk about having our customers back, and we always say that about us, we've got your back, and we have each other's back in our team. And I'm really super proud of my team. They're epic. They're everything. Boundless wouldn't be where it was without them. Yeah. Not 1 second. 100%. I owe it all to them.
And I think actually like that says so much about you and the company, but even saying that, because I think clearly there's so much respect as well internally. And I think that's another thing. Like if you don't respect the person that you're reporting into or whatever the situation is, it's just so hard to like work hard.
Yeah, it is. I think, like you say, it's hard to work hard for anybody if you feel like you're just a number, I think, personally.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to work hard if someone treats you without the respect that you deserve. And
Definitely.
I think what goes around comes around.
Absolutely.
And I think if that isn't kind of like core within the company, the team, then I don't think people stick around very long. And what's really lovely is most people with us have stayed a very, very long time.
Yeah, which I think says so much as well. Like
especially in this kind of environment.
Where it's really like easy to move. Yeah, exactly. Have you ever had a situation where you maybe haven't had the right fit and you've had to kind of like restructure? Yeah. What was that like?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I made the mistake. It was my fault. Hired somebody that thought what we needed was probably a little bit of corporate structure in terms of kind of like we were growing, had we missed something as a startup SME, and employed them and quickly learned that, oh no, we don't need that.
Yeah.
That's actually
what makes you guys so special.
Yeah, exactly. And wrong fit. So yeah, and it's never nice to let somebody go. But I always think it's better to let someone go, because if they're not right for your business, you are actually hampering them too. Yeah. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to the rest of the team that are working with at Boundless. It's not fair to the people that have invested in you, because you're not doing right by what you're saying, your growth and stuff like that. And it's not fair to that person that you've got in situ that doesn't fit, because I don't know how they can be happy and you're stopping them from getting on, do you know what I mean, being in a place that they're more suited to. So not easy to do, but in the end, it's better to do it.
Yeah, it is really difficult. And I Yeah, I've experienced working with so many different people, and I think you have to, that right fit thing is really key. Like, you do definitely need people in your area that you need and that you want. That is like the most important thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to be joined by Will. Come on, get comfy.
Come on, Will, come in.
Get in.
Oh, a rose between two.
Get involved. Get involved. I'm just going to go move the mic. So, right.
Lovely.
So you made a packet of crisps go very viral.
That happened.
How? I mean, it is the golden question in this time. How do you do it?
There's just something special about this barcode.
So, right, I want to know, did it actually let you through?
Well, what did the video say?
Yes. Because if it did, that's phenomenal.
What we have seen is a lot of people
try
it. And it was really funny because obviously that's, I think, the dream of sort of any marketer, for like to start a trend rather than to copy one, and ultimately you want to be the innovators. But a lot of people tried, a lot of people failed.
Okay.
Let's just say that's the.
I'm not surprised, because that would be quite shocking.
Throw security.
You'd like to think that.
Really?
We had quite a few cease and desist, didn't we?
You'd like to think that, the probably the height of security would not let a packet of crisps or chips, through security, but
you're no one unless you have a decent assist.
Yeah, absolutely. We're disruptive.
Season desist, you need a few. Because then we replicated it, kind of going through other places as well. So it was really cool. It was just, I mean, the marketing side of things, I think it's like, we had a journey, and it's kind of breaking down every element of how we maybe can incorporate Boundless into that journey, rather than just kind of, here's like an idea. It's like, actually, these are all the stages we're going to do. Like, how can we sort of naturally incorporate? And that one was the first sort of video of the trip. And I was like, me and my colleague went to bed, and then we woke up and I was like...
Because how many views did it, in total, engagement and stuff, did it actually get?
Over all platforms, the airport one is on about 32 million.
That's mad. It's 32 million eyeballs on your packaging.
And then, then it got reshared on quite a lot of other places with a couple of million on them. So, but actually off channels. And then the tube video got another couple of million. So,
Isn't it?
And did you see an uplift in sales?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah,
across all retail, D2C,
it's really hard to say across retail.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know. Do you know what I mean? I think that's fair. Yes, we can say on D2C or something like that. We can definitely say that. But in terms of retail, I'd say it's harder, right?
Yeah, I think it's what it does do is then for someone to go in a store, they recognise the brand and be like, oh wait, that's much more familiar. They might not know why they've seen it, because ultimately people consume so much content, but getting the awareness and people being like, oh, that seems more familiar, they're more likely to pick it up. So yes, you get the instant sort of benefits of a viral moment, but it's almost like the brand awareness and growth kind of going forward. That's I think the thing we want.
But that's the thing we're trying to focus, isn't it? Like any startup SME, you're trying to get more brand aware.
Yeah.
So that kind of that classic of being someone's eye line 3 times a day in order for it to register. We're a snack, we've got seconds of your time for you to pick us off shelf. We just want, and let's face it, we can't do big out-of-home campaigns like the big guys. Do you know what I mean? And all this sort of stuff. So, and we've got to think outside the box, or barcoding, whatever you want to call it. But we are on that kind of just trying to get real brand awareness, really.
Yeah, and it's really tough, isn't it, getting brand awareness? So what is your kind of strategy heavily socially based, or is it more the kind of stuff in supermarkets?
I would say ultimately kind of brand strategy is community led. If we can, rather than specifically on socials, etc., if we can build a community that will buy into what we're trying to achieve, then they're going to want to engage. You're more likely to see follows or shares for your products. And so I think almost less focus on going viral, because if you jump on a trend, it might do really well, but there's no sort of brand loyalty because no one knows anything about your product. So ultimately, how can we kind of people buy into the narrative, buy into Cathy, and then want to follow on the journey, I think.
Definitely. So what's next for Boundless?
Ooh.
No, you can stay. You can go. Up to you.
Okay,
I'll
so
leave,
we've...
Okay.
So, what's it?
Sorry.
A little interlude.
Little interlude. Okay, so I think, obviously, for us, world domination, of course.
Of course. Wouldn't expect anything less.
We're working really hard on that.
Yeah.
Movie coming out later this year.
Okay, fab, yeah.
Exactly.
I heard Tom Hanks was the star.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the way.
I did see that.
Thank you. Exactly. Great. Hollywood, here we come. I think for us, obviously, it's to continue with that brand awareness and that growth in terms of kind of obviously make more listings, make sure we got more listings across the UK. We already export. I think we're going to push further into doing that as well. But we obviously have some innovation coming this way over the last part of the year, which obviously we'll be excited to kind
Very
of
exciting.
reveal. Obviously, I could tell you now, but I'm about to kill you.
Yeah, of course. Kind of don't want to die yet.
Yeah, exactly. But I think for us overall, it's like really pushing like where gut health is going. Kind of like, you know, we are the UK's #1 gut health bag snack, and we intend to remain that. I think, but what we'd like to do is see that function category grow. We obviously are growing that category. We want to show that it can grow even further. And I guess the sky's the limit. That's our hope and our wish.
Yeah.
We're going to do this.
You are totally going to do it. I mean, I don't doubt it for 1 second. Well, thank you, Cathy, so much for coming on Getting to Grow. It's been so fab hearing all about it. And everybody, I don't want you eating a normal packet of crisps ever again. You are having the Boundless Gut Healthy Snack.